right, everybody, it's time for another episode of Hawk Picks. Today, I've got a few sales that have picked back up, thank goodness. But I've got a few sales here that I'll go over. And in addition to that, I want to talk a little bit about focusing up on what you're doing when you're listing things, because it can come back to bite you. And I've seen a bunch of different people be affected by this. I even saw a recent video by Commonwealth Picker where he had done something similar. So sit back and I'll be back right after the break and we'll talk about it. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, we've had some sales since I talked to you last. Some good sales. Not a ton of sales, but some really good sales. And a few stinkers as well. So, always going to be a little bit of both, I think. But, yeah, so today's topic is going to be just focusing up and paying attention to what it is you're doing when you're listing things. And one of these sales, actually, I ended up having to refund because there was a little something in there that wasn't correct in the listing. So I don't know if you guys go in and you find a listing that's for something that's around, I go in, I find something that's around the same price that I want to sell it for. And then I'll just have to make some alterations, as far as sizing, maybe color, that kind of thing. And then do the little button on that listing that says sell one like this. I'm not sure if you mess with that. I think a lot of people do that. But just as an example, you really need to focus on every single thing within that listing, including the title, the headline. Because I think what you'll find the more you do reselling, what I've found, is that people see that title basically, and they look at some of the photos, and that's it. They don't read the description. They don't read all the information that you put in, that kind of thing. They basically look at that title, and they look at some photos, and then they decide to purchase or not. So we had these Nike boots. They're called Nike Kids Benzie boots. And they're for kids, for little kids. They're just snow boots, kind of. Look like running shoes, black and white. We found these things for a pretty reasonable price, if I remember correctly. Let me see here. Yeah, we paid $4 for these things back in April of 2025. And yeah, ended up selling them. Not too bad, really. Ended up selling these things. I believe it was on offer. Let me see here. Yeah. Ended up selling these things for $32.99. Not bad, Not great either, to be honest with you, because like a knucklehead, I had that I was going to be paying for shipping also. So realistically, by the time it all comes out, lost some major money on this one. Not major, but I mean, a good, $13 bucks. Because in the title, it says size 10C. When in reality, these are size 2 youth. So when I did the sell like this, I didn't go in and change that in the title. Now, in the listing, it's everywhere in there. I mean, it specifically says, size 2 youth, European shoe size, the Australian shoe size, the UK. And then in the description and everything, it says all that. But in the headline and the title, it does not. So obviously that's my bad, my fault. So I just refunded them because they were buying these for a little kid. And 10C is a lot smaller than 2 youth. And I just told the guy, hey, man, just my bad, my fault. Even though it says it other places, it doesn't say it in the headline. So just go ahead and keep them, and I'm going to refund you your money. And I did. And he was actually really appreciative. He gave me great feedback and all that because he realized it was just an honest mistake. And so there you go, out shipping and out the cost of the shoes. Yeah, about 11.57. So about $12, somewhere in there, plus time, all that stuff. But I mean, it could have gone worse, But you really need to focus up, and I've kind of changed the way I do things since I listed these. Now what I do is I use a lot of AI to help me determine all the features of something, and then maybe even I'll have AI, after I go through that with AI, I'll have AI actually write the title line. And I very specific on how I want them to write it, but it works really well. If I would have done that in this case, it wouldn't have said 10C in there any longer. So you just have to figure out what you're doing. You have to really focus up when you're listing things and make sure so that you don't make a mistake like this. And I'll talk just a touch about the mistake I saw from Commonwealth Picker. I feel rough for him, but he didn't lose any money, so he's got that going for him. But let me talk a little bit about some of the sales that have happened in the last couple weeks. And realistically, all of these are actually really good, except one. Kind of crazy, but all of these are pretty darn good sales, I would say, and we made decent money on them. But one of them in particular that's not the case. So I'm going to come back and talk with you a little bit more about focusing up on your listings after I talk to you about this one particular sale that isn't quite where we want to be on these sorts of things. All right, so what that is I sold this ramen bowl, but it's a little bit special ramen bowl, not your average one. It's a My Hero Academia ramen bundle with the bowl, spoon, and chopsticks sealed, still in the box, sealed. Ended up selling that for $21.99. Not a lot, but I spent way too much on it, man. I bought this back about a year ago, a little over a year ago, on the 16th of February 2025. So it sat around quite a long time. Paid $7.59 for it. Ugh. The good news about it is they paid shipping, so I have that going for me. So their total was $31.83. That's the total for the item, shipping, and sales tax. And then when you take sales tax out, brings it down a little. And then transaction fees for this item are $4.44, which, ugh. And then, of course, the shipping was $6.83. Ad fee, 95 cents. Came out to $17.18 that I would be taking back. And if you take the $7.59 out of that, we come to $9.59. So based upon all the time it takes to take pictures and lists and all that stuff, not a good sale. I mean, less than $10 is not really where we want to be. And while I didn't lose anything, I learned never to sell another one of those. All right. So, so I'm watching Commonwealth Picker, and I don't know if it's Picker. He's got two different channels, but I'm watching him, and he had bought a big lot of concert shirts and music band shirts, and I want to say they cost him like maybe $4 each. And anyway, he had gone through, and his wife, they'd worked together on it. Or anyway, he dropped the ball on repricing one of them, and it ended up, it was actually worth about, it could be up to $600, but they ended up selling it for like 70 something because he wasn't focused on his listings, which, he's he's got a bigger business than me for sure. But right now it's January and February are kind of slow for everybody, or at least slowed down. So it's something he should have caught. And so what I'm getting at is just really focus up and make sure that you're doing things the same way for every item. And that's why it's so important to me to have items that I know I'm going to make this much money on. So I'm only spending this much time on it. So it's actually worth my while. And so, you know, I spent too much time on this ramen bundle. I spent too much money on this ramen bundle, and definitely didn't really make any money. I mean, by the time all was said and done, yeah, I mean, shipping, supplies, time, all that. It wasn't worth it. So, and now for him, like I said, he still made money, but nowhere near what he could have. You know, could have really been a killer sale, and he could have walked away with a lot of money, but not. No, you just really got to focus, guys. All right. Now, here is a pretty cool item that I sold. And I've had a lot of items sold overseas in the last few weeks. I don't know if you guys have experienced a lot of that. And it goes through the eBay international shipping thing. So the customer pays that international shipping, and then you ship it to a place in, well, I do anyway. I'm sure there's different warehouses all over the country, but I ship it to a place that's a suburb of Chicago. And then they ship it out from there to the last mile shipper in the country where the person's from. So here's one of those items right now. It's the brand is Baja Llama, and it's a perfect PURRFECT woman tropical Hawaiian blue Nighthawk shirt, men's size small. Not a big surprise. It took a while to sell that one, right? Size small is not an easy thing to sell. And it took its sweet time getting out of here. We only paid $1.10 for that shirt. And we bought it last May, May 24th, $1.10. So, I mean, you know, not the end of the world how long it took to sell and everything. But sold it to someone in Thailand, believe it or not. And anyway, so I shipped it over to, that suburb of Chicago, blah, blah, blah. They'll send it on to him later on. Anyway, I sold it for $39.99. And actually, he didn't have to pay shipping. I paid shipping. It was in country, right? So he didn't have to pay shipping on this one. I don't know how that worked out exactly, but yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind paying for some shipping, you know. I mean, this didn't cost me very much to ship. So he paid $39.99. Transaction fees were $5.48, ad fee $1.20. So I walk away there with $3.31. And then I did shipping on this one separately, I believe. I did it through, I did it through Pirate Ship. So shipping was only $6.38. Not bad. Not bad at all. So you take $33.31. Let's see here. And we take out $6.38. $6.38 equals $26.93 minus $1.10. $25.83. I'm totally cool with spending that much, making that much on something, especially a shirt. It's just easy to ship a shirt, you know. I mean, you just fold it up. I had it in a bag already in the clothing area. We have an inventory style area where we use My Reseller Genie, and you can actually put where the item's located, so it's easy to find when you sell it. But yeah, so it was already in a plastic bag, a see-through one labeled and everything, and I just stuck it in a poly mailer, white poly mailer, and those things are really strong, and shipped it out that way. So I know it's already on the way to him from that international warehouse, so he's good to go, and we made pretty good money on it. All right, so the next item is an interesting one as well. Now, this is another case of me sourcing. Let me do this other one first. Okay, next item is a Mac Speech Dictate software kit for Mac OS X, which, I mean, heck, we're way past the initial Mac OS X now, but what this is a dictation software that was made for Macs when that was still kind of new. And it's a headset and some software and a little piece of USB hardware that you plug into your computer. And long story short, you can dictate something and then it just takes it word for word, types it out. But sometimes these older software pieces whether it be this or whether it be games or whatever, can be worth some money. And this is one of those cases. I want to say I paid only like $2.50 for this thing, but it sold for $34.99. Okay. Then you take out $3.52 for transaction fees, $1.11 for an ad fee. So it comes out to $30.36. And then we take out shipping on this one because I went ahead and covered that in this deal. And shipping's $4.47. Not great. Not great. So down to $25.89, and then we take out $2.50. Still walked away with $23.39. You know, my sweet spot is $20. So if I'm not gonna make $20 on it, I don't want to even jack with it. So not a bad deal, and that went to someone right here in the U.S. of A. So no big deal there. The next one is a really interesting one. Now this one comes back to sourcing on Facebook Marketplace. Got to keep an eye out on there. You know, if you want to find things to sell that you know people are just trying to get rid of because they need space maybe in their house or they're moving or whatever. And I came across these Logitech Brio Ultra HD 4K webcams. Now, this is, I think, if I remember correctly, this is one of the first 4K webcams there was. And I always kind of wanted one, you know, but I saw this guy selling them on Facebook Marketplace for $25 each. And I was like, dang, dude, those things go for still. If you go to Logitech's website, those are $170. So I knew I could get some good sales out of that deal. If I had them at the right price, I could probably sell them fast. And that is exactly what happened. I had 3 of them. I bought 3 of them from that guy, so $75. I had 3 of them up for sale. And then there was a discount if you bought more of them. And so ended up, I think I had them $99.99 each. But he bought 3 of them, so it's 10% off. I ended up selling them for $90 each. I only paid $25 for them. And then since he bought all 3 of them, you know, shipping wasn't very much either. I think, let me see for shipping what I paid on this deal. I paid, for a label for all 3 of these. They're a little heavy, but it was $14.65 for shipping. So $299.97 for all 3 of them, minus $30 for the discount, so $270 basically. So 3 times 90, and then transaction fees $39.14. But you know, come on, man, that's kind of ridiculous because I put these things up for sale on the 13th. They sold on the 14th, and yet I gotta pay $40? It's just kind of ridiculous. Sometimes these transaction fees don't make any sense. Then I had to pay $8.10 for an ad fee. Really? Anyway, long story short, I walked away from the whole thing with $208.08. And then when you take out, you know, $75, $133.08. So basically made $133 overnight off of just, you know, something really simple that I just happened to know was worth some money. And I think I saw that guy selling more of those. I'm going to see if I can buy the rest of them from him. But when I contacted him, I was going to buy one. Then I said, well, how many of these you got left? And he goes, 3. And I go, oh, that's perfect. I'll take these. So I bought all 3 of them from him. But it was $75 for me. It was $270 for this gentleman. But those have been delivered to him. And he had some special. Pay attention to this, too, when you're shipping stuff out. He had a buyer's note. Please do not include any invoice, packing slip, or any document showing prices inside the package. Thank you. And I don't do that anyway. The only thing I have that's for my business that's in the packaging or whatever is the actual stickers on the outside of the box, the main box that these little boxes were in. So, and it still, that doesn't show any pricing or anything like that. So I responded to him, let him know, hey, no big deal. Those went to Miami, actually, right here in the U.S. All right. Let's see. Let's get to this next one. This is a weird one. So about a year ago, I was really interested in kind of paring down because I had these big speakers with my turntable set up in our kitchen, because we do a lot of cooking in there. So I thought it would be cool if we had another turntable up there. I'm a big music fan and definitely into vinyl, but I thought it would be cool to have, kind of a self-contained device that would amplify and have the speakers and everything. So I looked into those Bose acoustic wave systems. Now, this one that I ended up buying was the CD3000. Now, that's kind of one, if you've ever seen the acoustic wave radio, it's kind of like that, but a little bit bigger, definitely taller, but a little bit wider and thicker too. I bought this thing, last year. Let me see what I paid on it, because I don't think I paid a whole lot. Let me see. Well, you know what? I have it in here. I don't even know why I'm looking that up. Sorry about that. Yeah, I paid $115 for this thing. Okay, and that's a year ago, and it was already at that point over 30 years old. So, I didn't need it anymore, because I came across this guy locally here in the Kansas City area, and he was selling a Bang & Olufsen similar type of deal, and so I went and bought that from him. Sounds way better, even though this Bose one sounded great, but just way better device overall. The Bose ones, the CD player in them is touchy. I will tell you that. And I knew that when I bought it. I actually took this one apart and re-greased the rods that hold the laser reader that reads the disc, and then put it back together. And it worked a lot better after that. But you cannot play burnt CDs on it or anything like that. It did have AM and FM, and it did have an input, so that's how I had the turntable going into there. Anyway, I ended up selling it to someone, and let's see, they paid, and they had to pay shipping because it wasn't in the United States, even though I think I had people having to pay shipping on this one anyway. But it was $159.99 is what it sold for. Their shipping was $38.39, and I'll tell you why in a second. And then there was a general sales tax of $29.90 or $29.76, right? So that's $228.14 they put out for this thing. The biggest reason why it was going to be all that much is because it was going to New Zealand. I know that's crazy, but yeah, they bought it to have it in New Zealand, which, hey man, more power to you. Enjoy, Anyway, I packed it all up or whatever. After the transaction fees and the ad fee and all that jazz and the shipping, it was $148.55 I walked away with. And again, a year ago I paid $115, so it would be less than that. I still would have made a cool $50-$60 off this thing based upon value. But then I got this crazy message from eBay. It was really weird. I received this message. Let me just read it to you real quick to give you an idea. Your order can't be fulfilled. Hi, we wanted to let you know that unfortunately this item could not be shipped internationally. As a result, your order can't be fulfilled. This could be due to import restrictions or eligibility requirements. Now, you get to keep the sale, and we've issued a refund to your buyer. We understand this may be unexpected and would like to share more information about international shipping. If you have any questions, just get in touch. We're here to help. Thanks for being part of the eBay community. So I got to keep the money from it, and I'm fine with that. But then they did a refund for the customer too, so they got all their money back, which is great. But yeah, it's unfortunate. And I sent him a message. I said, hey, I'm sorry. They must have had an issue on their end. I've never seen this before. I wish you luck on finding something else. And I'm glad that they fully refunded you. And they're, it's all good. But it was really a weird situation. Like, I've never had that happen before. And I've sold electronics overseas. So I don't know really what's going on, if it has to do with these stupid tariff things or whatever. I have no clue. Or maybe just Bose in general. You can't sell that over there. But I guess what happened is eBay realized they kind of dropped the ball a little bit on identifying the fact that I wasn't able to sell this to someone in New Zealand. And so they took the heat on it, which, hey, whatever, man. I still walked away with my money. And I guess the Wave, acoustic Wave CD3000 will just sit in limbo somewhere. But really strange, man. Really, really strange deal. I've never experienced anything quite like that. And then, so just to talking a little bit about stuff like that, and I'll get to the final sale right after this, but this is one of those things. I don't know everything about international shipping and what you can and what you cannot do, but I do know that generally my experience is the software on the eBay website will identify if you're unable to send something to a certain place. I have had that happen before, and I've had to cancel a sale to somebody and let them know, hey, I'm not allowed to ship this to you. But I've never had a situation like this, okay? So, hey, again, I'm totally groovy with it, right? I mean, I got paid and that person on their end got their money back. So, whatever. The only bummer is it ends up costing us all money because eBay had to take the hit on it. So, what can you do? What can you do? All right. But just pay attention. If you know the rules or if you're unsure, go into a forum where there's other resellers and ask the question, hey, am I allowed to ship this to blah, 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 and just kind of see what people, have to say. Because someone has been through what it is that you're going through, and they're probably going to have experienced that before. So it's always good to look for advice if you're unsure on things. This one, I just didn't think it was a problem, man. I mean, it wasn't giving me any problems while I was packing it up, weighing it, all that stuff. So I just figured everything was hunky-dory. But, man, and it still is on my end. But, all right. All right, and the last thing that I have in here, and this is kind of funny. We had this gemstone collection assortment that we received from my stepdaughter, and she had been somewhere and purchased this deal, and for like $5. And what it was is it almost seems like it's something for somebody whose hobby is to collect loose gemstones, Now you're hearing this and you're like, oh my God, this would be a lot of money. And it was a great sale. But the funny thing about it is we had that thing sitting around forever, and it was in this little plastic, like take home food. Like if you get a doggy bag for your food, if you go out to eat dinner somewhere, they give you these black plastic, containers with a clear plastic lid. So inside there, pardon me again, inside that thing was 22 different items. I want to say, let me see here if I can get the exact deal on it. But they were all labeled, which was interesting. And let's see, there was 16 of these little mini jars. They're not really jars, but they're little plastic things with foam, and the gem sits on top of that. And then on the other side of the little jar, it was the text that, and they did all have dollar amounts on them, which is pretty wild too. And then there were also 6 little folded up paper envelope style things that had some loose gems inside each one of those too, that also had dollar amounts and descriptions written on the out or typed and a sticker on the outside of them. And then there was a business card from a local place here in the Kansas City area. I'm not going to say who it's from, but they're a gemstone setup. And so we, at first we kind of looked at it and we're like, I don't know what it's worth or whatever. And so I had some silver, and I also had a watch that needed to be repaired. It was my mom's watch before she passed away, and I just kind of wanted to get it fixed to hold on to. It's just an Invicta, not super nice. It's a Minnie Mouse Invicta watch, and she wore it all the time and really liked it, so I kind of wanted to get that repaired. It wasn't working. So my wife was going to go take this silver in to this jewelry store that's nearby us here. I've been up there. We had a ring also from my mother that we got repaired for my daughter. And this guy's just really nice guy, very honest dude, of course. So my wife took these gems with her when she took in this loose silver that we had, some coins and stuff, and then she took this watch to get fixed. And he looked at them and he said, "Oh, you know, that's one of those things. They used to sell these like collector's kits, or sometimes they would even sell these on like, you know, QVC or the Home Shopping Network. And it's not really a scam. It's just they're really not worth what they say here. It's really not worth that money. I mean, he's like, I could give you like some money for it, you know, but probably if you have an eBay business, you might try selling it on there." And, you know, he remembered me. And so my wife just brought him back because she couldn't get a hold of me. And I said, "Well, good. I'm glad you brought him back. We'll sell him. I mean, you know, no biggie." But we probably had them like over a year before we even really started seriously considering selling them. So we just didn't think they were worth anything. So I started kind of poking around using AI, using, you know, the Google image search, you know, using eBay to kind of research as well. And I found that probably the best thing for me to do, and even AI suggested this, the best thing for me to do would be to do an auction for it, which I don't usually do auctions. But they said, do an auction, and they suggested in AI, I started at $99.99, $100 basically. And I said, wow, okay. Yeah, I mean, what's the worst that could hurt, right? So I did that. Well, when you're entering that, you have to also put if you want to do a buy it now, you have to put a dollar amount that someone could just buy it now. You don't have to, they don't have to go through all the stupid bidding and all that stuff. It's not stupid. It's just not my kind of thing. They don't have to go through the bidding, and they can just buy it now. So I just picked an arbitrary number of $399.99. I said, well, $400, you know, that'd be great. It sold in under 24 hours. Actually, I think in under like 2 hours. This person bought it, and for $400, man, I couldn't believe it. I mean, neither one of us could believe it. We were just like, what? It was insane. And the funny thing about it is another eBay outfit on online, they bought it. So it's pretty wild. Someone who knows what they're doing. So probably it was worth a hell of a lot more. And this person's got 100% positive feedback, over 677 sales. They handle these estate items, all this stuff, actually handmade artwork that they do. Pretty cool. And they've been on here for 22 years, going on 22 years. So they know what they're doing. It's probably worth thousands, you know? But hey, you know what? I don't care, man. It's gone, and we did great. I'm more than excited with how we ended up on this deal, and I think it's pretty cool, man. $400 out of nowhere, out of left field. We had no clue that thing was going to sell at all, and lo and behold, we make a $400 sale off something that cost us $5. And I had paid for shipping too, but I mean, that didn't cost anything. I actually insured it for a little bit more. So I did pay a little bit more for shipping. But yeah, let's see here. Let me go through the kind of the costs and everything. So $399.99, and then they paid $28 of tax. Okay, so then we're back to $399.99. Transaction fees, again, less than a day up for sale, and eBay takes $56.04. Ad fee $12.84. Like, oh, come on, man. Seriously, no offense, but I mean, I understand you got to pay them something, but they did not do nearly $70 worth of work on sewing this, man. And then the shipping label was only going to be like $5 or $6, but then I paid extra to cover the full value of the sale. So it was $11.99. So walked away with $319.21. And like I told you, only paid $5 for this thing. So we ended up, making about $315 almost, and getting a sale super crazy quick. I sure as hell wish I would have put it up for sale a lot faster. And I will next time we come across something like that. But, what a great sale, and that's a great success. And selling the eBay wave radio was a great thing. The Logitech Brio webcams was a great thing. And then as I told you guys in the last episode, I sold those Jordan shoes to someone, but then they bounced back because they determined that they weren't new. So I put them up for sale again and I specifically said they were used, but like new, and that they had been validated by the eBay shoe validation group or whatever it is. Put them up for sale again, and they sold for $69.99. Plus, I paid shipping because it was just going to Glendale Heights, Illinois, outside of Chicago, because these babies are going overseas as well. They are going to Poland. So despite everything that happened with them before, we still walked away with $51.19. And I'm trying to remember what I paid for those, but it was nowhere near that. I paid $10. So we still walked away making $40 after all that mess before with the shoe authentication deal and them being new or not. What I'm trying to say is, when something like that comes up, something crops up, and it's not positive, even like the little kids' Nike boots, turned it into something good. So the whole life gives you lemons, make lemonade thing. It's the same thing here with those Nike boots for that kid. I still got great feedback out of it from the customer. They were totally cool. Hey, they got a free pair of boots. That kid will wear size 2 youth soon enough. They grow quick. And then same thing with these Jordans, could have been down about it and pissed, but I just turned around and relisted them. And boom, they sold like the day after I relisted them. So kind of funny because they sat around for months before I sold them in the first place. It's really nuts. But, just don't get discouraged. Things are going to come up. You will lose. You will lose money sometimes, and things will happen. Just like that ridiculous thing with those boots and the thing I was telling you about with Commonwealth. Those things crop up. But you have to focus up when you're doing your job, which is listing these items, making sure that everything's right. Don't just take AI's word for it either. I told you I've been using AI. I still skim everything and make sure everything's spelled properly and described correctly. A lot of times it gives me stuff that... what I do is I go in, I show it pictures of the item after I take pictures, and then I say, hey, give me the features of this item in bullet points. And so then it'll kind of go through that. A lot of times some of those bullet points are incorrect. So I have to go in and fix those up and clean them up a little bit. And then I have it give me the title. I read through it a few times, make sure everything's right in there. If I would have been doing this when I originally listed those kids' boots, this wouldn't have happened. It would have been a good sale. He would have been happy. I would have been happy, blah, blah, blah. Or he wouldn't have bought them because he wouldn't have needed them yet. But you just really have to focus on your listings, pay attention, be diligent, and then also, be sure of yourself. You're doing a good job. I guarantee it. This is a fun gig. It's a fun side hustle, and the ability to make money doing that is nothing to turn your nose up at. It's fun. We did actually have to go last weekend. We went to State. My daughter swam in State in 2 different events. And so we drove down about 4 hours away, the other side of Missouri, so St. Louis area, and went and watched her swim. And on our way back, my wife and I, of course, we hit a few thrift stores. Actually, on our way there, we hit one. I found one, and we hit one in a suburb of St. Louis, and found a couple little things there, too. I found a thermos jug, like one of those old kind of water jugs, bigger than just kind of a jug you carry in one hand. It's kind of one of those ones that's a little more round, kind of the fisherman size deal. So probably holds like, maybe a gallon of a beverage. But the cool thing about it was it had imprint and stuff all over it for the Los Angeles Olympics, 1984, I believe. Crazy, man. And they only wanted a couple bucks for it, and it sells for more than that. But so I need to get it listed. But yeah, found a couple other things. actually found I've been buying because I always wanted these because believe it or not, I'm the seamstress in this house. But anytime anything needs to be fixed, like and that includes hemming things up or whatever, it's me. It's me that's going to be doing it. Just because I don't know. I'm good at it, and I'm also kind of anal retentive. So, in case you haven't noticed, so I can focus up and do that and do a good job of it. So that's kind of one of those things. But I've always wanted one of those little handheld sewing machines. They used to sell them like crazy back in the 80s and 90s. And it's that simple. It's like a little tool you hold with batteries, and it just puts in some stitching on something. And I found one finally, probably about 2 or 3 months ago, and I was pretty excited about it. But it was missing a part or two inside, and that one was the as seen on TV version. Well, I found another one of those at that same thrift store where I found that jug for $3, and it was brand new in the box. So I have that one too. And I'll probably sell one of them, to recoup some of that money. Probably get more than enough money back to cover both purchases. But we found that too. And then on our way home, because we stayed the night there, the next day I found thrift stores in smaller towns outside of where we were on the way back off the beaten path a little bit. And we cleaned up, man. We found some really good stuff. So I'm excited to get some of that stuff listed as well and make some money off that. But we also found some really cool stuff for us too. My wife, I found some records that were great. We were in this one thrift store, and I actually walked by the records, and I was like, it looked like the typical selection of thrift store records, which is just either religious music or music so old that whoever bought these new is not here anymore because it's that old. And I have some of that, but I just don't, it's not something I'm seeking out, But then I was talking to my wife. I go, yeah, I walked right by those records and I didn't even look at them because, there's not going to be anything. You'll be happy I didn't look at them. And she was kind of laughed. And then I kind of looked up to my right and I saw some mugs, some like coffee mugs or hot cocoa mugs or whatever, hanging up there. And guess what they were from? They were from the 1984 Olympics. They had that same exact symbol on the side of them. And I'm like, that's kooky. So I kind of looked them up to see how much they were worth. They weren't worth shit. So I thought, maybe I should go back and look at those records. First one I pull out, Morris Day and the Time's Up. I don't know if you know who they are. They did Jungle Love. They were in Purple Rain. They're a band that was produced by Prince. And found that album, man. I was super jazzed to find that. Looked a little further, found an Orleans album. I don't know if you know that band. They sang Still the One. Yeah, and I have that album that has that song on it, but this is another album. Found that. And then I found a Tom Jones Greatest Hits record from England on the Parrot Press and bought that as well. I mean, they were only $1 each. Bought a bunch of horror DVD collections. So each one has no less than like 4 films on it. One of them has 20 films and like 4 discs inside. But I figure what I'll do with those, I noticed that they sell, if you have like 4 or 5 of those disc sets, you can sell them and make some money. So they were only, again, $1 each. So I just went for it. But yeah, we found some cool stuff, man. And I'm pretty excited to get that up for sale. So again, when you're doing your listings, just be smart. You go ahead and use AI. AI is great, man. But just remember, it has limitations. As much as I would like to have my Meta Ray-Bans and be able to look at something in my Meta Ray-Bans, tell me how much it's worth. And I put that up in a group that I'm on Reddit. And I said, does anybody know a way to do this using Meta Ray-Bans? And some guy came back and said, well, I wouldn't just take AI's advice. Yeah, I know, man. I didn't, no offense, but I didn't ask your opinion on that. I just asked if you knew a way to do this. But there is no way to do it right now. Meta has it locked down. So I really don't know. I can take a picture with it and then bring it up on my phone and set it over to Perplexity or whatever AI you're using and kind of ask those questions there. But I really would like to have smart glasses that can do that and tell me back in my ear, or a readout, a HUD that will tell me with text that I can read how much, this sells, how much it usually sells for, that kind of thing. And if I could do that, that would be great. And it'll happen. I got a couple companies I'm working with that I may advance test some new glasses that are coming out. We'll see. I have no idea. Anyway, I was talking to Alibaba, and they have their Quark S1 smart glasses. They're really cool, actually. The frames are only $600, but they have the HUD. They take 4K video and amazing photographs. They also do translation, and they have speakers too. So I like the Evan Realities G2s, but the problem is they don't have any audio. I got to have audio. I don't really even care so much about a camera. I mean, I'd like to have a camera, but I know people are kind of freaked out by these cameras and in glasses, which I get. I think what sucks about it is I see all these jerk-offs that have Meta Ray-Bans, and they're like trying to cover up the light that lets people know you're recording or taking pictures. Dude, that's there for a reason. Camcorders have had a red light forever. And oh, by the way, people that are paranoid about people using these glasses, there are cameras everywhere taking video and pictures of you. You go to the ATM, you go into the store, you go anywhere inside a store. The only places they're really not legally are in bathrooms. But damn, I mean, settle down. The problem is, like I said, you got assholes that are trying to make it so people don't know they're recording, and that just sucks. From my understanding, I may run into issues with this when I go to when we go on this cruise. I've heard that cruise lines are getting upset with people with these glasses, and it's like, yeah, they're getting upset with assholes with these glasses. Not everybody with these glasses. These are my glasses, I have other pairs of glasses, but it's like, thanks, jerk-offs, for ruining that for me. I'm going off on a different tangent now, sorry. But ultimately, that's what I want to do with smart glasses, and I'll be able to do it. These Quark ones were just a little too expensive with my prescription. So I'm going to wait and see if I can test these other ones. I also put in for an advanced deal for a Kickstarter for another company called Inno that has some new ones coming out. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Something will be out there for me. I'll find something. I looked at the Rokid glasses. Now, they want $300 to ship here, but that's because of these dumb tariffs. So that may become more of a reality because they'd be under $1,000. I mean, dude, these Meta Ray-Bans with my prescription in them were $700. I got a pretty heavy prescription, So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but that's my dream for smart glasses. There you go. There you go. Hey, I appreciate you guys listening to this whole thing. Sorry I went off on a tangent there at the end. Again, just focus up when you're listening to things. Focus up when you're buying things. Set that standard for yourself. It doesn't have to be $20. You could be totally fine with $10 or $5. I don't care. We used to require less. We wanted to make $10 on everything. It's just gotten to the point now where it takes so much time and everything that, we want to make 20. So that's where we set our standard. So that way we buy less inventory. I mean, it makes sense for us, okay? But set your standard, follow your rules. Just make sure you always follow your rules. Don't screw up like I did with those kids' boots, and like the mistake that was made with Commonwealth, like I told you about. And you'll be happy. You'll enjoy this. It's a fun gig, man. Go out there, buy some stuff, resell it. I'll see you in a couple weeks. I will have links to the most current Dad Snark podcast episode. It's a special report, by the way, about the film. Oh my God, what the hell's the name of that movie called? That is so sad, man. That I went and saw. I went and saw the film Iron Lung. Yeah. So it's a special report about that film and what I thought about it. So I'll put that link in here. I'll put the link to my Hi Hello, and then of course I'll put the link to the Hawkman's Goods store. Keep on listening. Go out there and check out also Doug Resells It YT on YouTube, and that's pretty cool as well. And yeah, talk to you guys soon. Take it easy. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.